Welcome to Not Till Now, a podcast about courage. I'm your host, Brit Stueven. Season 1 features conversations with performers and collaborators from the debut live show on January 28th, a night where firsts took the stage. In these chats, we'll talk about fear, the creative process, and what happens after you say yes to something you've never done before. Here we go. Hello, and welcome to today's episode with my very special guest, Liz Miller. If you were at the debut of Not Till Now, you remember her as the woman who started her talk with BOOBS, which we'll get into. Liz is a marketing consultant, grant writer, midlife mama, and someone most people would describe as practical, organized, and responsible. But on that stage, she let us see another side. Sharp, sarcastic, wildly funny, and deeply human. Her piece, Ode to the Girls, traced her lifelong relationship with her breasts, from late bloomer prayers to postpartum shock to menopausal plot twists, and ultimately landed on something bigger than anatomy. It was about what we carry in our bodies over time and what it looks like to forgive ourselves along the way. Liz, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Britt. It's my pleasure.
So, at what point did you decide I'm going to get on a stage and talk about my boobs?
Well, it kind of came about almost accidentally, I guess, when we're in this writing group together and we done some prompts for the group, and then the idea had, started percolating about Not Till Now, and it really was just kind of an offhand comment when you said, "Would you be in for this?" And I was like, yeah, sure, I would get up there and talk about my girls. So, and then I started getting feedback from people who saw the post, and they were like, then it felt more like I'd made a commitment. And something you have to know about me is when I make a commitment, it's hell or high water, I'm going to follow through. So then it started dawning on me that I guess I have committed myself to do this now. So let's do it. Let's get over it. But the funny thing is that there's a philosophy in my house that naked is natural. And we've been saying that since my son was young, and my mom was a nurse. So I just grew up with this comfort and familiarity with the human body. I'm a bit of a health nerd, when it comes to keeping up with the latest trends in science and health. And honestly, it felt like the most low-key way for me to get in front of an audience that, for the most part, I didn't know these people, and put myself out there in a really personal way. So that's how it came about.
In your application, though, you said that this had been something that you had been thinking about sharing and talking about for, I think, 3 years?
Yeah, menopause. The magical mystery tour continues. I had a client as a consultant who has a business called Night Out with the Girls, and that just reinforced a little bit of this body positivity and the idea that our bodies are these amazing, incredible, organic living entities that we take for granted often. So it had been percolating, not necessarily in the way of I want to talk about this, but just more of a comfort level with my body that I got through menopause. Because as hard as you try, when a doctor tells you, "Hey, you're in menopause," you can't stop that train. That train has left the station at that point, whether you're in it or about to be over the line, because menopause is technically one day. The rest is perimenopause and then postmenopause on the other side. But anyway, just feelings that I had. And for me, menopause was pretty lonely because it happened before this huge cultural zeitgeist that's happening now around menopause, which is fantastic. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm still learning about menopause, even though I'm 5 years post-menopause. But it's just that idea of sharing that with people so that maybe somebody else would benefit from hearing my story and how I came to grips with what was happening with my body. And it was like, I could spend all this time and money fighting it because you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Or I can just say, this is a new phase. This is who I am now. And let's make it the best that we can as far as going forward in seasons of life.
Yes, I really admire that about you. You're always sharing whatever is going on with you physically and mentally and not shying away from whatever is happening, and it makes it easier for other people to talk about those things too. It kind of normalizes that.
Yeah, glad. We should normalize what's normal.
Right, I know. But okay, so on the other hand, though, at the rehearsal, I remember talking to you afterwards, and you're like, "Yeah, I haven't told my husband that I'm doing this yet," and
Yeah.
and you're like, "I'm a little worried that he's gonna be like, 'Are you sure this is what you want to do?'" And then when you told him, that was so beautiful. I know it's a super personal thing, but I mean, you've pretty much already gone there with personal stuff with your topic. So
True.
take us back to that whole thing.
Okay, so I think it came about, we'd been watching some comedy shows on Netflix or YouTube or whatever. And Leanne Morgan, which I don't know if you know her, but she is an older woman
Yes.
from Tennessee. Yeah, right? And she talks
She's
about being a
hilarious.
mom. She talks about, her marriage, and she's just raw and honest. And I think we were watching that one night, and that was kind of like the spark, because I didn't tell him that I auditioned in November. I didn't tell him that I was accepted in December. I went all the way through Christmas and then into January. And I think it was right around the time of that first rehearsal that I was like, yeah, you got to tell him sooner or later. And to be clear, I did not need his permission to do this, because I don't, but I did want his support and his love. I mean, he's my best friend. We've been married 35 years. So he was not at all shocked when I actually told him that. It was like, hey, I've thought about maybe doing, it's not a comedy routine, right? It wasn't comedy. It wasn't stand up, but just, like you said, storytelling, this opportunity, this experience. And as expected, he said the same thing that my best friend did, which was, not, are you sure you want to do this, but are you sure that's what you want to talk about? So I don't think that they had any doubt that I could talk about something. They were just a little, are you sure about this? So
Yes, yeah.
And what I loved was we were actually lying in bed holding hands, just, doing our end of day recap. That was the sweet part. And that's why I love him. And what I loved was that he followed it up with, after he said that, he said, why is this something that you want to talk about? And then we got to have the conversation and about what I planned to say and topics and slang terms for breast. And he actually weighed in on several of those because he has his favorites. But that was a sign to me that it was like, okay, I have the support of the person that means the most to me in this world. And he's going to be there to watch it happen. So from there, it was like, okay, 3-week countdown until this happens. And then I started to tell my friends, and I actually told my closest friend, and she told other friends. It was like the shampoo ads in the 70s. You tell 4 friends, and they tell 4 friends. So then people started blowing up my my text messages about, I want to do this. I want to see you. I want to see this happen. So then I was arranging tickets and spreading the word and being your hype woman. Which is not ever something I would have imagined myself in that role. But hey, I'm here for it. I'm always here to support you. I mean, this whole thing has been a slow moving train, I feel. Our friendship, our relationship. I've known you for 12 years now. And I still have that notebook from that urban campfire. And I can share that story if I have time. But basically, you emceed that event. We did not know each other. I reached out to you afterwards to comment on what I thought the event, how much I enjoyed it. And then we started this long-term relationship. And when I look back through that notebook and the other things that you've done in your programs online, your coaching, and all of that, Brit, it's been you. Like, you are the through line for the last 10 or 12 years of my life. And I've just been
Oh,
so inspired watching you do what you do. And thank you for letting me be a part
oh.
of it.
Well, I'm so grateful that we connected. And I mean, as you know, when I emceed that event, that was the first time I'd ever done that. I actually just talked about that on a previous interview about how that wasn't even planned. That was a last minute thing because Melody's initial MC got sick and she was like, "Do you want to do this?" I
That I
was
did not
like, "I've
know.
never."
Or maybe
So,
I've known and
I was
knew
like,
and forgot. That happens with
right? It was
menopause.
kind of a long time ago.
Yeah.
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 Um, but I'll never forget your encouragement, and you have been so encouraging along the way as
Oh.
I just experiment and try these crazy things, and it's always been so fun to have you along for the ride and to see you transform and grow and to see you start to really like as you said in your talk, I'm here to say what I mean and
Mm-hmm.
mean what I say,
Yeah.
and it's time to
Swim.
just stop holding back. And so yeah, it's just been a really cool journey. And I loved what you wrote in the writing group because yes, you've been part of the Not Till Now writing group, and that has been so fun. And I remember when I first brought it up to you, you're like, I have actually been wanting to join a writing group, and this sounds really fun. And it's been
That was another sign.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another sign. And
Um,
and because it was you, I was like, I got to do it. Like, it's a safe space. I
oh,
already know everything about you. I've gotten to the point now where anything you ask me to do, I would just unhesitatingly say, absolutely, yes, I'm there.
anything?
I don't know
Okay, remember
about anything,
this.
but pretty close. Like, anything to make change, improve people's lives, help them find their, potential and grow, those things. Yeah.
I know, I know. No, no, that's it's yeah, these communities are not the same without you because you always bring your real self. And I so appreciate that about you. So when you did write in the Facebook group for the writing group about your Not Till Now performance, you're talking about how it just felt so exhilarating, but that you couldn't see much of the audience beyond the first few rows. And
Hmm.
I obviously could feel that too. And that was so bizarre. But what did that what did that really feel like for you?
First of all, it was a bit shocking because I had been sitting in the audience for the first half of the show. So I got to see that perspective of watching everybody and taking notes on their performance and how they were doing it, as well as enjoying it as an actual attendee. But when I got up there, those lights were so damn bright. And with my glasses, then I had glare as well. So I really
Oh,
I had to find like Jamie in that, first couple of rows, that touchstone of the people that were in the writing group and people that we knew in the community. And honestly, I was just focusing on them, but then I would look up and look around from time to time, even though I couldn't really see what I was supposed to be seeing. And honestly, I hope this isn't cheating, but I I thought of it like a green screen. I was like, oh, the monster's coming and we should show shock and you know, shock and horror and so I hope that those facial expressions landed and connected with the audience, but the truth is I couldn't really see who I was talking to other than that. So I just made it really cozy and intimate for those first 3 rows and hope that the rest of the audience got to come along for the ride. That was my strategy.
oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so weird standing, under a spotlight and just talking into an ether, and then you hear these people, but you cannot see them, and it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're out there, but
Yeah.
it was really special, in particular that audience that we had that was just so ultra supportive of everybody, and you could feel it. I mean, you could just feel the vibe even though you couldn't see them. It was like this warm hug that was just encompassing the entire building, I think. And we were all able to draw from that. So that
Yes,
helped
it was
me.
amazing.
That helped me like keep it together, keep it cool and calm. And I've done some public speaking before in a professional or work capacity, but nothing like this. This was ultra personal. So it was a whole new ball game in terms of not being nervous, because usually I am nervous when I go to speak and I have to fidget or deep breathe or whatever, do something with that energy. But that didn't happen with this particular thing. And again, I think it was because I knew it was you. I knew it was a safe space, that even if things went sideways, we were going to laugh about it.
Yeah.
Later, like when the mic at Mom's on the Mic went kind of limp on you, and that happened to me too. But I just kept going through it. I was like, okay, I can, let this derail me. I can try and ad lib and maybe screw it up, or I can just, hold on for dear life. And that's what I did. I just held on to the mic. So, and it all
I
worked out.
know, yes, it kept slipping, and then you were standing on your tippy toes, and I'm sure no one else saw it, right? But probably me and maybe one other person who pays attention to those details, but I'm sure
Uh-huh.
everyone was just captivated by what you were sharing, and I'm amazed that you weren't nervous. I don't think I knew this, but I'm not surprised because that night when you were standing there waiting to go, and we're behind the curtain, it was almost like you were like glowing. I mean, you were just ready. You were staring out at the stage. Mike was before you, and you were just watching him. And I'm like, okay, are you okay? Are you good? Are you good? Oh, yep, I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
good. And then you just went out there and did it. But what you also wrote about is when you came back and you were walking back to the green room, you had
Mm-hmm.
that thought of, oh, they're just being kind. It probably wasn't that good. Do you remember writing that
Oh,
in
yeah,
your
for
post?
sure. Yeah,
Where
I
was that
do.
coming from?
Well, I think that voice, honestly, I think it's my mom's voice, but it's a little bit of my voice now as well. So my mom grew up as one of 8 kids, right, in a farming community, and she said they had a whole lot of nothing. And then she was a single
Right.
mom of 4 kids herself, after my parents split up. And this was early in my life. I was 4, so I don't remember really any of this. But she actually married my dad twice and then cut him loose when she realized, yeah, it was like one, strike two, nobody gets a third strike. So 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 she was just this force of nature doing it all, mostly alone. I mean, I had stepdads, but they didn't do the heavy lifting that she did. And I just sensed this constant struggle that she was in, this emotional space of keeping it together and putting a roof over our heads and food on the table. And she never said, don't get your hopes up, but that was kind of the vibe she gave off, was like, go ahead and have your dreams, but maybe a little curb your enthusiasm. And
Mm.
as a result, I internalized a lot of that anxiety. And my mom and I have this special relationship where we can literally feel what the other person is feeling sometimes and understand. And I don't think she has that with my siblings, because I
Hmm.
was just a different kid, dreamy and in my head a lot, and the bookworm. And so it was interesting to me, because what she said was, go out and try and be the best and do all these things that you want to do with your life, and the encouragement. And then on the other hand, what I felt was she didn't believe it for herself. Like, and
Oh.
that was just a really weird conflict, I guess, that drove me to become an overachiever. So I was a striver,
Oh.
and I kept myself busy chasing those goals and trying to change who I was to fit in. And was it to prove her wrong? I don't honestly know, but it was like trying to drive a car with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. And that's exhausting, right? No matter who
Yeah.
you are. So I don't know how she did it. I'm in awe of what she managed to pull together with the four of us because there was so much on her shoulders. And so I understand where that voice comes from. And now I got my own voice because of my own experiences in the world where I was in an administrative position for like 20 years in various situations while my husband was in the military. So I honestly felt like I could not say no to people because it was like, my
Right.
job was to make shit happen, get shit done. And so then I took that kind of perspective home with me and then started feeling like no matter what I do, there was always a self-criticism. Even now, when I plan to do something, sign on to something that takes a lot of effort, the first thought that comes to me is, I can't do this. And then I call
Whoa.
it my freak out moment. Like I have to have that freak out moment where I'm like, I can't do this. And then
Yeah.
I let it sit with it, right? And I really think about it. And then the planner and the organizer steps in and takes charge and goes, "Yep, we can do this. What do we need to do? Let's get this show on the road."
I love that. I
Right? So
love
that's
that
the
you're
voice. That's the voice. But I talk back to that voice now to help it understand that I can choose to ignore that voice or I can choose to moderate that voice to be able to say, let's think this through.
man, when I asked you that, I'm like, I don't know what I would even say if someone asked me that. Like, that is a really deep question. And then here you give me this whole scientific, thought out, completely deep reasoning that blows my mind. And it makes so much sense. That so much of that goes back to our childhoods and things that other people did and how that influenced us. And it's so important that you recognize that as someone else's voice, obviously infiltrating your decisions, but it's so cool that you're able to recognize it, sit with it, and then let the planner come through. I really like that.
Yeah,
It's a good
I've come
tool.
to terms with it. That's just who I am internally. And I think that that voice appears to save me from disappointment. But you know what? Things go wrong sometimes. And like everyone, I've been disappointed in circumstances or choices that I've made or, myself. But if those things didn't go wrong, I'm not sure we would appreciate happiness because there would be no counterbalance. It'd be like ice cream every day. You'd get sick of it, right?
For
And
sure.
and
Yep.
disappointment helps you to change course and build the resilience to try again.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yep. Yeah, it's like when you're sick for 5 days and then the day you feel better, you're like, everything is magnified. The sun is
Right.
beautiful. My coffee tastes amazing. This is so great. Or when you're on vacation, you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love my home. Like you have to be pulled away from the good to appreciate it. So yeah.
Bingo.
So going back to the night,
Hmm.
you get home and Al has told you that he recorded your performance and you watched it and you're like, hey, I was pretty damn funny. So then how did that feel to then watch yourself back and be like, wow, okay, I did a great job?
It was almost surreal, actually, to watch that video the first time. I really like took myself out of it and pretended I was almost a critic watching, a performance without really being invested in the outcome. So I was just watching
Right.
and paying attention to what I said and how I reacted and my mannerisms and my facial expressions and all that. And like that was the moment that I realized, wow, I planned what to wear, I planned what to say and how to say it, and all of those elements came together in this perfect storm where I was like, "Huh, okay, I really kind of nailed that."
Yeah.
Like, nobody
Yes,
was more
you
surprised
did.
than me. I mean, I'm not trying to be the next Mel Robbins or anything, but I held my own, and I was really proud of that when that moment settled over me that evening. And I was up till like 2 a.m. that night. I was just woo. I was on the adrenaline train.
Oh my gosh, me too. I thought for sure I would fall asleep immediately because I was so physically tired, but my brain was going and going and going and could not stop either. And then you said you were euphoric the next morning. Take us through your morning. Did you do anything different? What did that look like?
Honestly, it was like a tingle. Is how I would describe it. And I had just this surge of energy and confidence, and I felt almost electric in the body is how I would describe it. Like, this must be what drugs feel like. I don't know.
I know. Yes.
But I see how people could get hooked on that feeling. I do. So it was a non-drug drug that just really lit me up, and I'd like to feel it again. I'll tell you that.
I know. I think, do you think there's more speaking in your future? Are you going to apply to certain things or just see what happens?
I don't really know what that would look like. I mean, there's Toastmasters or something if I want to do something locally, or I mean, if you have resources, I'm certainly open to learning about the possibilities, because it feels like
Right.
something that I could do again. Originally my thought was, I'm going to do this one time. I'm going to do as great a job as I can, and then it's over, right? Check it off the
Right.
list, the bucket list. And then after I did it and experienced it from the audience, from the green room afterwards, and then the thing at home when I actually watched the video, then the voice was like, huh, you actually did this. You could do this again. You like to talk. You like to hear people's stories. And I mean, I'm a communicator at heart. I've always enjoyed hearing other people's perspectives, experiences, because we all have so much to share. And
Right. Yeah.
stories bring us together. They help us see that we're not alone, and
Mm-hmm.
that even when we feel alone, we're really surrounded by many other people that have gone through something similar or will at some point.
Right.
And yeah,
Yes.
and so I don't know, it could take me in a new direction, because to me, grant writing is storytelling. So I'm already doing that on paper, right? And
Right.
and I've done it through marketing, communications, PR. All of those things they're starting to dovetail and come together, but I'm not sure where speaking fits in, but maybe it does. I mean, I spoke at Moms on the Mic, and then I was in your article in your magazine for Moms on the Mic. So again, the train slowly picking up pieces. It's like the train's going from station to station, picking up little bits
Mm-hmm.
along the way of the things that are building me into the next version of
Yeah.
myself. How about that?
I love that. And the more I think about it, I wonder if there's also a piece of that euphoria was possibly sharing that side of yourself that most people don't see. I mean, have you found yourself being more quirky and funny and outspoken in everyday life since that event? Or at any point in your life, have you felt after sharing that side of yourself, are you that electric jolt because you were able to really share who you are from your core?
Yes. I have been sharing a little bit more of myself with people. Swim has become my new model. Say what I mean. Mean what I
Love that.
say. Swim. There's the acronym.
Oh, I was
So,
like, swimming? You're swimming
right.
now? What is that?
So when
Okay.
someone asks me something, I pause and I think, swim. Like, don't
Love that.
candy coat it. Don't be diplomatic about it, because, like I said, I had these experiences in my own life where I was always the peacemaker in my family, always the person who is pulling all the pieces together in my workplace, right? And so it's a new kind of freedom for
Mhm.
me. And like I said, I've had these feelings in my head for a long time. There's a party going on in here.
Right.
And things that I could say, and I usually think about them like, after everyone's left the building and gone home. Like I had ideas for the ad libs the night of, but I didn't think about them until the next morning. Like, oh, I could have said this, I could have said that, but I was already at my time limit. So.
Do you remember what they were by
Mhm.
chance?
Oh, yeah. At the end of the speech, I talked about, the girls and I, thank you for sharing this moment with us. And what I thought of was, oh, I could have said from the top of my breast to the bottom of my heart.
Yes, yes, yes.
Me and the girls want to thank you for being here tonight. Things like that.
Yes,
Yeah. And that was after,
yeah,
I don't know how
love that.
many edits to the actual speech at that point, because the whole process was write, rewrite, practice, edit, rewrite, practice. Like it was just this long,
Yes.
ongoing loop.
What did practicing look like for you?
I did it at home, and sometimes my husband was in the room and sometimes he wasn't. And he withheld his input until the end. And then he would ask me, he'd go, "Why are you pausing so much? Like, why are you
Oh, yeah, that's
why are you
right.
stopping on this word?" And I'm like, "Have you never spoken in public?" Like, there's this
Yeah.
thing called inflections, honey, that people do. And I'm pausing because you want to let it sink in. You want to let people have that moment, and that's about timing. And that's something I'm obviously still working on. In a natural way, like when I had talked to you, that I pause in my speech. That's a natural pattern for me. And what's happening is
Yes.
the wheels are turning, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say to you while I'm saying what I'm saying to you. So that's
Right.
always happening for me. And it was kind of a cool thing to find an environment where that pattern of speech was welcomed. Like I'm not just talking about myself up there, even though I was talking about my body. It's not just me. I am the messenger, the conduit between
Right.
what's being said and the audience, and how the audience is reacting to it.
And as you were talking, I was paying attention to how you were pausing and visualizing how the wheels were probably turning in your head. And
Yeah.
yeah, you have such a great way of, yes, speaking slowly and getting your sentences out. A lot of times I feel like I just get super excited. And now that I've started to edit these conversations, I mean, I see the way that I do speak, and I'll start one sentence and then start another and then come back. And then it's so funny, but I could take some notes from you, Liz, on how to slowly deliver a sentence.
Oh, my mnemonic for that is SNL. So you want to speak slowly, in and for and lowly, SNL, slowly and lowly. Got it?
Oh,
Yeah. So I've done some
goodness.
media
What other?
training and coached clients through that when they're on broadcasts and TV shows and things like that. I say, speak slowly
Oh,
and lowly, because we have this tendency for our voice to get higher when we're nervous. Like my voice is a lot lower now than it was on the night. I can tell you that. I didn't feel like
oh,
that was my voice coming out of my mouth. Exactly.
interesting. Oh.
Yeah. But at home, there's no pressure. It's comfortable. This is my voice.
So now I'm intrigued by the things that you've coached your clients through. Do you have any other acronyms? What other wisdom do you have for folks who are about to go speak on a podcast or be on the radio or give a speech?
Essentially, it was helping people contain that energy, because they're in a space where, especially on broadcast news, they may only have a soundbite of like 30 seconds out of a conversation that might last for 2 to 3
Right.
minutes. So it's really helping them hone in on what they want to say, what they would want to be remembered for when that soundbite is taken out of what they say. And people have, I think, a tendency to want to talk in that space, in that environment, and tell everything. Like, I work in the nonprofit space, so there's always a lot of fundraising and there's getting people excited about events and things like that. But you have such a small window to make an impact that you really have to think it through. Like, what is the money piece, the money shot? And right. Like when you were on the radio, same thing, right? You have to go in there knowing what you want people to know, what do you want them to do, and what do you want them to feel. And those are
Oh,
like the
yes.
pillars for me of nonprofit communication.
What's your favorite nonprofit that you're working with right now?
Oh, okay, that's easy. So there's an organization called Athena Project, and their mission is to amplify women, amplify art. And what that means is that they are uplifting the voices of women and underrepresented genders through the arts. So it can be, you're right, we have programs for women's and girls leadership in the arts. So we're working with the next generation. We're working with artists who are working professionally, and women are underrepresented in the arts. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we think of dancers and ballerinas and actresses and things like that, and we do see that, but go deeper. Who is in leadership? Who is making the
Right.
decisions about the content that we see in our entertainment spaces? That's where we're trying to move the needle. And we're trying to do that
Mhm.
by getting the artists to be seen and heard. We want to promote their work. We want to pay them equitably. That's a pillar as well. We want to bring the joy that art provides and the creativity, because I believe, and I know the organization believes, that everyone is creative. Everyone is an
Yeah.
artist. You don't need formal
Yep.
training. You just need to be able to trust yourself to let that out and share, your feelings, because art reflects life.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I know I have heard of this nonprofit through you. I have yet to experience any of their events, but I really want to. It really seems like a great organization for women of all ages and walks of life, and seems like there's so many resources, and there was even a class on how to start a podcast, I believe I saw on their
Yeah, for
Instagram
the
once.
for the
And
um the drop-in, the after-school drop-in classes for middle schoolers, which is like 6th to 10th grade. That's right. Yeah, they had a creating a podcast, and in fact the grant I'm writing now has to do with creating a podcast, but it's on the other end of the spectrum. It's for AARP is the funder, and it's
oh,
the program that Athena is developing is called Rebel Arts, and it's for women 50 plus to find their artistic voice. Because a lot of times what we
no.
find, yeah, and what we found was that in the surveys that we did in the community, women over 50 said they felt like they were an underrepresented group, that
Mm,
that either doesn't think they are creative or has been told that, or if they are creative and know they are, they don't have the outlets to express it. Yeah.
oh,
So that's the other.
dang.
So we're going from, like, yeah, from the younger generation all the way up to older adults, and helping them to feel more seen in society.
Okay, yes. So that brings me to another question I wanted to ask you. What do you think happens when women in midlife stop editing themselves? Because I feel like when we get to this phase, I mean, I know I'm surrounded by a lot of women who are suddenly starting to explore the things that they put on the back burner, or saying the things that they maybe hadn't said, or getting more into writing or returning to art. And some of them don't even know really where to turn, but they feel that itch. So what do you think happens when women stop editing themselves?
Well, I think there's a kind of freedom that comes from trusting your heart, and trusting your heart to tell your voice what to say. And in order to do that, you have to get to a point where you're like, okay, I don't care what other people think. This is my life. Like, I'm the director here. I get to choose how this story is represented. And that's a
Right.
beautiful thing that I've found in the writing group is that by writing about my experiences, I cannot recommend it highly enough. I feel like I'm becoming a memoirist because I'm
Yes.
writing about all these different parts of my own journey. And until you see them, you don't recognize and connect the dots. And that's what's happening for me is I'm starting to see how I got to where I am now. And maybe I don't know quite yet, where I'm going, but I'm trusting the process. And I think if we give ourselves that grace to feel what we feel, name our emotions, name our perspectives, and then choose intentionally how we will react to that in our own lives, that just opens up this whole new world of swim. Say what I mean.
It's so true. It's so important to sit and process and look back and be like, okay, this totally makes sense. And it's the practice of writing anything, whether it's just for yourself or for something that you'll share in a group, getting words out onto paper in front of you, just even streamline stream of consciousness thoughts. It is
Mhm.
such a powerful exercise to see your thoughts outside of you, and then to be able to name something, like you said, to feel something, to, yes, connect the dots. Oh my gosh, there's so many like mic drop things in what you just shared about how, I think midlife gets this bad rap of, oh geez, there's all these things happening with our bodies and it's so
Right?
tough and we're cranky and we don't want our husbands to be around us and anything they say or do, that's all I see on my Instagram is this guy wearing a wig pretending to be a
Oh, I
a
know that. I've seen that one.
perimenopausal woman.
Dude dad, right?
But underneath all that, so much is happening. And yes, we're connecting the dots and things are piecing together and we're realizing that the life is so short and it goes so fast. And then we're like, all right, I'm just going to say the thing and do the thing. So I love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So going back to the Not Till Now
Mhm.
experience, did that teach you anything about courage that you didn't know before? Or did you have any big takeaway that surprised you?
I think first of all, I kind of modeled like my ending of my speech where I talked about courage to get up in front of people and put yourself out there based on what you had said, you had shared with the group that you were going to say in your closing remarks. So I was inspired by you to bring it into my own speech, and I felt like it took it to a different level because courage, what you said in your closing argument, I can say arguments, I'm an attorney. Your closing speech, your closing comments, you said you were talking about courage coming from pain. And
Yes.
it wasn't really a painful time, I guess. It was an awkward time for me when I was talking about puberty and even pregnancy and postpartum. Those were not painful times for me, although they were certainly times of growth, but they were seasons of life where I had to come to terms with what was happening, like the new me. Puberty is a new you from girl to woman.
Yes.
Pregnancy is that portal to motherhood. And then menopause is not the end, but a new beginning
Right.
into the last part of your life, like what's beyond midlife. And so the courage for me was recognizing those elements and again understanding that we're not as alone as we feel sometimes and that we can share if we share our stories we can give that to someone else. Like you're not alone either.
Yeah, I'm just taken back to that night right now and just thinking about how powerful it is when people do share their stories, and it truly does help others feel not alone. I mean, I was so overwhelmed by the number of people who reached out after the event and said how much it resonated with them, or, asked for certain people's emails so that they could say, hey, thank you. I really needed to hear that. And I can't wait to talk to Debbie about hers as well, because she was really nervous to share. It was a deeply personal thing, but she definitely helped parents feel not alone in something that is not really talked about. And I know that you resonated with a bunch of women in that audience, and maybe they didn't choose to vocalize it, but I'm confident that you got through to so many women who are struggling with the changes in their bodies, and it was really cool to see you forgive yourself for a lot of the things that have changed as you've gotten older. And yeah, do you see yourself any differently since giving your talk, or has anything shifted since then, or do you feel like, I just feel good about what I
Yeah.
shared?
Well, I do feel good about what I shared. Some women did actually talk to me and said that I moved them.
Oh,
Yep,
good.
and like took them back to especially those days, the early days of breastfeeding and trying to figure out what the hell is going on when you're in the early stages of motherhood. You miss that part. You get the other
Yep.
fun parts with GWoo, but you're sleep deprived. Your body's just gone through this massive physical upheaval. Your hormones are just, like a maelstrom of what's happening around you. And you're trying to make sense of it all. But at the same time, for me, that nursing experience was just the most precious time that I had with my son, where we would spend hours together. And sometimes my husband would come home from work and find us on the couch where I was, one boob out and dogs at my feet, baby asleep in my lap. Yeah, I was so touched that I had that ability to transport some people in the audience back to that time in their life. And you know what really surprised me was the round of the applause that we got when I said hormone therapy.
Oh,
You remember
right.
I was leading up to, the girls got a little of their bounce back from hormone therapy, but there was this just unmitigated applause when I said hormone therapy, and that kind of threw me for a sec. I was like, what's going on here? I guess they're big fans. And again, it was something that
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't really get to talk to my girlfriends about menopause. In my family, my sisters and my mom had either gone through it at different times or had surgery so that they didn't, have the same experience with a hysterectomy. And then some of my friends are a little older than me. Some of my friends are a little younger than me. There's not really too many that are right here in the sweet spot of like the mid 50s where I'm at right now. I'm 58. And so I kind of had to, figure out that period of my life in a lonely space. And so to be able to
Mm-hmm.
talk about it on stage was like, wow, I could have been connecting with people all along. There was a
Oh, yeah.
stigma. We had this stigma around menopause. Like you said, it's like going up and up and up, and then you're like, here we go downhill. Your life is over. I remember spending my 49th birthday on the couch just crying my eyes out. But like, why?
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
was 49? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I did lose my job, so there were mitigating factors, and my birthday is Christmas Eve, so that's always tough anyway. But
Oh gosh, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
but since then I'm looking back and I'm going like, why? Why did I waste that time thinking that life is over at 50? Come on. Women live to be, right now, I think the average is 76 for men and 81 for women, and that's on the low side. So,
Yeah.
for menopause, you've got a solid 3 decades left, maybe more. If you practice a healthy lifestyle, you might be one of the fortunate ones that goes to 90. So this idea that that it all comes to a screeching halt when you turn 50 or 55 or 60 or 65. I'm calling bullshit.
Good. Yes. I love it. I know that there's a lot of people who need to hear that, including myself, that there's still so much more life to live
Yeah,
and
and I
so
want
much more
younger women to
possibility.
know, like, I want them to be prepared for what's coming because it's an upheaval. I'll tell you,
Yeah,
it will change your life. It definitely changed mine in good ways and in ways that I'm still coming to terms with. But
right.
but like Debbie said, if we can laugh about it, we can talk about it. And once we talk about it, then we realize we're not alone, right? Back to the pillars, we're not alone. And we all have stories to share. And then women do what women do. They share tips and resources and recommendations for doctors and products and platforms and all the things that we do. We support each other through it.
That's right.
It's a
It's
beautiful
it's
thing.
damn good to be a woman.
It is.
There's many days I shake my fists and I'm like, what the hell is this? But now, I am proud and it is good to be a woman and I just thank you so much for being on here with me today and sharing your heart and answering these really deep questions with mic drops and being you.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you,
so
Brit.
much,
We've
Liz.
got like a mutual admiration society going here. And I look back on some of your texts from time to time when I'm trying to remember things. And there was something that you had written quite a while ago when you were doing the Break Changer program that you did. And it was, remember, you are capable.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
where you saw that on a
Mhm.
magazine. I keep that on my
Yes.
phone to remind myself.
Oh,
Yep, I keep that on my phone to remind myself that I am capable and that we can do hard things, right? We can do hard things
yes.
with love and support and let those things change us, let those things help us grow into the people that we are meant to become and just embrace and appreciate all of it along the way. Because, like you said, the ride is over way too fast sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Well, thank you
Yeah, thank
so
you.
much. And I'm going to include a link to your performance in the notes for people to see
Okay.
that and other ways for folks to connect with you. And I think that's it, unless there's anything else that you want folks to know about any projects or any other nonprofits you're working with.
I mean, I'm actually kind of a private person. I'm not big on social media and connecting. LinkedIn is always a good place if you want to talk shop about PR or communications or fundraising. Other than that, if people want to reach out, I'm happy to have conversations and connect. But really, I just want to say how incredible Not Till Now was as an experience. And I told you backstage that night, this is going to be a night that we're both going to remember. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it was. I don't know what it'll turn into from this point. I'm sure you have grand plans, but friend, I'll be right there with you. Just let me know where to get my tickets.
Oh. Well, yay. Well, that means so much. I love doing life with you, Liz. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Britt. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Not Till Now. I hope this conversation stirred something in you. Don't forget to check the show notes for a recap and ways to stay connected. And if you know someone in your life who needs permission, send this to them. See you next time.